Hi, welcome back to yet another pod. We're back at it. You may have noticed, you may not have, but you may have noticed there was no pod last week. I'm not going to lie, last week was a horrible week for your boy. And so I just needed to take a little time to myself, recuperate, and now we're back at it like never before. Let's dive into some of the updates here. Reba was the name of the fish who we had isolated and we were protecting from the other fish. Unfortunately, that fish did not earn its name. It was not a survivor. We went to go feed it one morning and Reba was gone. Reba is now sleeping with the fishes, to say the least. So unfortunately, none of the fry from Fatty the Platy survived. Do not be weary, because I feel as if Fatty is pregnant again. It's kind of gnarly. I don't know how frequently this fish can give birth, but it feels like it's about to give birth again. So perhaps some fry will survive this time around. We will be as proactive as possible with them, but survival of the fittest. And maybe one day, one of these days, a fry will earn the name Reba by being a survivor. Another update, we put out the bird feeder about 2 weeks ago now, and they have plowed through probably 25% of the seed. Now, the unfortunate aspect is I see the seeds gone, but I haven't seen any birds yet, because every time I look out and I see a bird for a second, I get excited, go to grip my camera. By the time I get back, they're gone. So I might have to lurk for a little while just to capture some birds feeding, but they seem to be happy in their home, and I hear a lot more birds chirping around here. It is exciting, to say the least, but a little bit discouraging to not be able to enjoy them. So perhaps I will hunt them from inside my home soon. And speaking of birding, I threatened and I said I wouldn't talk about it until it finally happened, and it happened. Video will be coming out later this week. I finally went birding. I don't want to spoil the video, but I will say I found a real big bird. Real exciting bird. I doubt that this is a very rare bird, but for me, as a first-time goer and a first-time checker-outer of birds, I was hype. I'm not going to lie to you. I was hyped. So I really look forward to sharing that video with you. A few random things, because I also super love sports. The Steelers, they signed Russell Wilson. Well, they're about to sign Russell Wilson, and I really don't know how to feel. I feel extremely neutral. I am happy that they're bringing in some competition for Kenny Pickett, because I don't think I could sit through another year of really bad, boring offense. It does feel as if the Steelers front office is making moves that they normally wouldn't make. I mean, they signed Patrick Queen. We stole him from the Ravens. That's even sweeter. We needed a linebacker, and we got one of the best linebackers from our rival in division. I'm extremely excited for the moves being made. I'm looking forward to seeing what other free agents are signed and what we do in the draft, because if we do have the quarterback thing sort of locked up, or at least in their minds locked up, that opens up room for some good players and adding pieces instead of filling needs. You know, I'm not saying the Steelers are going to the Super Bowl, but the Steelers are probably going to the Super Bowl this season. And I will be there at the parade in Pittsburgh if and when they do win the Super Bowl. I won't do a deep dive into Red Dead 2, but I've been playing Red Dead 2, and wow, it is incredible. I really liked Red Dead, and Red Dead 2 is just an improvement on everything. Red Dead, solid. Great game. Perfect story. Very happy with it. Red Dead 2, initially I thought to myself, I don't know if I could give my heart to another character in this game, but Arthur Morgan's got my heart. That's my boy. And I am really enjoying the story of this game. I feel like it gives a lot of context for the first game. I almost wish I would have played Red Dead 2 prior to Red Dead, because I feel like there'd be a lot more weight behind some of the things that happen in Red Dead, but it would be a jump back in time with the graphics, so I do understand playing it in the order that I'm playing it. But hey, so far, Red Dead 2, phenomenal. Would recommend. Don't know where you've been if you haven't played it. You must be me, because I just found out about it and I'm all about it. This week, I also begun another venture, another hobby, if you will. And I decided that I was going to learn how to fish. Now, growing up, we went fishing very infrequently. So I'm trying to remember what my 12-year-old brain retained from what my dad taught me, and it's not a whole lot. So YouTube has definitely been helpful. With that being said, I went to a sporting goods store and I picked up a rod and reel. Yep. So this is her. Pretty cool. Her name is Ol Yeller, just like the dog. Yellow is my favorite color, if you have not picked up on that to this point. But yeah, I got that. It's a spinning reel. I had to do a really quick crash course on the difference between baitcaster, spinning reel, fly fishing. Fly fishing's not in the realm of possibility for me at this point as someone who knows nothing. But I bought it, got some, and it came with some like hooks and stuff. So I went and got some bait, and I was like, all right, I'm just going to go out and I'm going to make it happen. So strung it up, got it all set up, cast it, and the spool of line just kept undoing itself. And I was like, what the heck am I doing wrong? So I'm going in, I'm changing the tension, I'm doing all these different things. Every time I cast it, it just keeps unspooling. And I'm frustrated. 2.5 hours go by, and I just gave up without even being able to put my hook into the water. I thought that perhaps determination would win the day, but determination did not win the day. I went home feeling like a loser. I'm not going to lie to you. I went home thinking, where the heck is the receipt for this? Because I don't think I can do this. Because I've tried it every which way and I can't figure it out. So get on YouTube when I get home after, drowning my sorrows in some string cheese, and realize I was casting upside down. And I also was missing a huge component of the cast by putting my finger on the line whilst casting so that it doesn't unspool. So I was like, okay, in theory, I can do this, but I don't feel like I can fully, because again, in theory, I've watched a video, I've kind of practiced without any line on there, but I haven't done anything real in the water. So I hit up my boy Jairus. Jairus is the running champion, recently ran a half marathon, fishing champion. He's who I'd like to be when I grow up. He's an outdoorsman, even if he wouldn't admit it himself. So Jairus, myself, Pixel, and my wife, we all went out fishing. As soon as I started casting, I ran into the same problems. And inside of me, this pride rose up. And I was like, I want to figure this out. I don't want to admit that I don't know how to do this, even though I shouldn't be expected to know how to do this because I haven't done this before. But I was like, I'm not gonna ask for help. I'm gonna figure it out. And then quickly, after it happening again, I had to swallow said pride and ask for help. So I was like, Jairus, help me out, brother. And he's like, simple. Do these 2 things. Game over. And then he showed me. He cast it, went to the water, reeled it in. He was like, all right, now you do it. And I did it successfully. So I just kind of practiced casting. I wasn't hoping to catch any fish. I don't really know what I would do if I caught a fish at this point in time. I feel really anxious about catching a fish because I definitely, I would eat it if I brought it home. 100% would eat it. I'm afraid to touch it because it feels a little icky. I'm not going to lie to you. So I got some gloves with me. And I know I'll get over that at some point, but as of right now, that's kind of how I'm feeling. The main point of the story. I think that it just reminded me, this little fishing situation reminded me that it is okay to ask for help. We definitely are way too hard on ourselves. Like, I'm expecting to know how to cast and, tie the knot for the hook and all these different fishing terms. I'm expecting to be an expert angler when all I've done is watch YouTube videos and bought a pole. And I'm getting frustrated with myself and impatient with myself because I can't figure it out by myself. I think the things that are highlighted to me in this scenario is be nice to yourself. And I think I had to say that to myself in that 2.5 hours that I was just casting and knotting up my line and getting frustrated. And I just kept repeating to myself, like, this is fun. Like, this is for fun. This is not that serious. I need it to not be that serious. And so just taking deep breaths and kind of sorting it out, because I think that sometimes we take ourselves a little bit too seriously. And I think I was taking myself way too seriously for fishing. Like, in the grand scheme of life, if I am an unsuccessful angler, it doesn't really matter, right? It's something I'd like to be, is a successful angler, but it really doesn't matter. And I don't need to be that hard on myself. I don't need to beat myself up. I don't need to be frustrated. The point of fishing, for me at least, is just to get outside, breathe in some air, and have some tranquility on the water. And I was getting none of those things. So once I kind of came to that conclusion, it was helpful. I still didn't feel like a success because I wasn't able to cast it out, but I still won that battle, if that makes any sense. I think that a lot of times just in life, there's little battles within battles when it comes to learning something new. It's like I'm learning not only something new, but I'm also learning to be kind to myself. I'm also learning to have fun and to not take it so seriously. And I think the other lesson from when I had Jairus with me is, okay, it's not a bad thing to ask for help. Jairus didn't make me feel less than. He didn't make me feel any type of way. I think that in our minds, we start to think like, oh, if I ask for help, they're going to think I'm not good enough or I don't know, or they might, make fun of me. And maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just venting into the camera lens, but I feel like it's not just me. Okay. I think if you have the right people around you and you ask for help, they're going to be there for you and there's not going to be any judgment. Now, I understand that I am applying a fishing situation to life problems, but I think that oftentimes these smaller things, if we step back, we can recognize that there's some bigger lessons in them. Learning to ask for help has been one of the most difficult things for me. I do not like to be, in my mind, at the mercy of someone else or not know everything about a topic. I like to be the expert, and I just can't do that. I'm being so hard on myself by trying to be the expert all the time. And it's not fair to me and it's not fair to the people around me, because back in junior year of high school, my teacher said something to me that has always stuck with me. I think I might have mentioned it before, but everyone that you come into contact with knows something that you don't. So find out what that thing is. And that's always stuck with me. And I think that I was just reminded of that. Like everybody has some sense of knowledge or value that they bring to the table. And me trying to be the expert, me trying to figure it out on my own, I'm not serving them well either. And I'm not serving myself well either. I think it's important to ask for help. And it's something that I am actively growing in. We're in the middle of it. I have not figured it out quite yet. It's still a tough pill to swallow. But I think that if you can come to that place where you're like, okay, I do need help, and there are people that are willing to help me, all I have to do is kind of swallow my pride and ask for help. That's a good place to be in. And now it's just follow through. And so fishing has taught me so much about myself already in just 2 times going out. And I've caught 0 fish. And it's been so much fun. I think that getting outside, getting in touch with nature, it gives you an opportunity to turn off all the things around you and get in touch with yourself. It's just nice to step away for a little bit, even if it's 30 minutes, be out, breathing the air, touching grass, hanging out with people that you care about, people that care about you, and being honest. It's really important just to be honest with yourself. All of that to say, I went fishing this week and I learned a lot about myself in it. And I'm not saying go fishing, but figure out what works for you, just to kind of get in touch with yourself, just to separate yourself from the routine, do something different, get outside of your comfort zone a little bit, which fishing is extremely outside of my comfort zone. But I would just encourage you to take some time this week and just reflect. I think this year is going by really fast. And as time goes on, I think that we get into autopilot mode and we forget to stop and smell the roses, so to speak. We forget to stop and be in touch with how we're feeling. And I think that that is what is important for us to live a life that is successful, a life where we thrive, where we're happy. Because if we're just nose to the grindstone all the time or just stuck in a routine, you look up and 10 years have passed you by and you're extremely unhappy because all these things that you thought that you had around you aren't really around you because you haven't nurtured them in a while. I just want to encourage you just to take a moment this week. The tone of this podcast is a little bit more serious, like the ones that I used to do. But I think that it's important to express all sides of who I am, because I think it's important to express all sides of who you are. If I could just inspire one person to take a moment and reflect and something come of that, then my job is done. Because I've already done it for myself. So I feel like why hold on to it? Why gatekeep? Let me pass it along to you. Yeah, so that's kind of been the last couple of weeks for me. It's been really interesting, a lot of opportunities for growth, and I am seizing them. Been a lot of discovery. And speaking of discovery, you know what time it is. It is time for Discover Weekly Top 5. There's no really soft and easy way to transition from that topic into a top 5 of Spotify. So let's jump into it. The first song is Highway Queen by Mount Joy. It is very country / folksy, and I like it. If you've listened to Mount Joy, that's kind of the sound. It's like indie folk, but this is leaning into country more so than normal. And as you know, I'm just a country boy here, and it makes me very happy. I think that it's a really easy listen. I think that the art that they used for the single cover is very perfect because it does feel like you're driving through fields on a summer day with the breeze kind of moving the grass. You got cows on the side of the road, and it just feels very freeing. It just feels like a light song, and it feels nice. So I would recommend checking it out. Mount Joy has a lot of really good songs. My favorite album from Mount Joy is their self-titled Mount Joy. Dirty Love. Whew. Short song. I wish it was longer, but it is so sweet. Short and sweet. That's how we like it. So definitely check them out. The next song that we have is American Movie by Creature Canyon. Creature Canyon is an indie band. They're a good time. I would recommend checking out some of their other stuff. They play a ton of shows in San Diego. I want to say that they're a San Diego band because, I don't want to brag too much, but one of the band members is my customer at the coffee shop that I work at. And he's a pretty sweet boy. He's a nice man. And I enjoy the conversations that we do have. And this is probably my favorite song that I've heard them put out. And so I was really happy when it was in my Discover Weekly. So I thought I would throw it out there for you. They definitely have other songs they're probably playing at a place near you. If you're in San Diego, you should definitely check out Creature Canyon, American Movie. Our next song is Los Santos by Current Blue. Vibey, to say the least. Great groove. Feels like you're just kind of laying on your couch. You put on the song. You got it blasting. It's been a long day at work. Sun's kind of coming down. And you just kind of want to unwind a little bit before you have to make yourself dinner or before you have to, pack it in for the night. It is a good time. If you're into, some chill, kind of groovy, vibey music, horrible adjectives to use. But that is exactly what it is. I would recommend checking out Los Santos. I haven't looked into any of the other songs that the band has out, but this one is a winner for me and is getting on some playlists for sure. The next song that we have is Sodas in the Freezer by Flycatcher. The title itself is what really propelled me into wanting to listen to this song. And it's a slow burn. It has a great build, but then when it goes, you're just like, If you've ever listened to a song that's like that, you know exactly what I mean by. If that's your kind of music, would recommend. And the final song is Bowling Alley Thug by Surf Hat. The art on this I enjoy oh so very much. Bowling Alley Thug, great title. I feel as if this week the Discover Weekly was like, yo, I'm going to give you the craziest song titles and you're going to love all of them. And I did. I actually had more than 5 for this week, but I narrowed it down to these 5. This is the most surf rock song you'll hear. If you like surf rock, you're going to love this song. It can go into any playlist. It has big Babe Rainbow meets the Growlers energy, which their sounds are very similar, but if you listen to it, you'll be like, I see what you mean. So once again, Bowling Alley Thug by Surf Hat. Would recommend. Check it out. Add it to your playlist. If you did make it to the end of the video, shout out to you. I appreciate you. I always appreciate your time. Remember, it's okay to ask for help. Don't be too hard on yourself. And I hope that you have an excellent rest of your day. And I'll see you in the next one.